Yo, it's the Shamrock Show, episode 12, Dirty Dozen. I got 2 guests in the house. My boy Ian Mathews from Bellator MMA, and my man Eric Coleman, photographer extraordinaire and barista king.
That was a solid intro.
That was solid, right?
Anymore.
So, before we get going, we're going to shout out to my sponsors here, Ripe, and we're chefing my boys up some cocktails.
Oh, I can't believe it took this long.
I know.
It was just sitting there for like 40 minutes.
Yeah. So, Proper 12. Next podcast, actually, this dude, Brian Axelrod, I'm going to introduce you on Friday to him, but he works directly for Connor with Proper 12. He's coming to do the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's coming for the
fights.
fights?
Yeah, they got a corporate suite. So this is called Bayesian Punch. It's fresh juice. It's a company out of Connecticut, man. It's fucking dope. I use it at Sunsets. If you're out there, any bar you go to, make sure you ask for Ripe
Is this
pressed
something
drinks.
I can only get at Sunsets?
It's in Connecticut right now, yeah.
Okay.
Cheers.
I'm half Bayesian.
What do you think?
Oh, shit.
Right?
Dang.
Let's get the stamp of approval.
That's solid.
Right. So let's get going, man. So before we dig too far, man, I know it's almost No Shave November. Can we talk about the mustache? Can we talk about the shelf life of this mustache?
Almost anything is on limits. We can talk about the stash.
How long are we going with the stash? How long has it been? When did you start this thing?
I believe it was towards the end of February 2019.
All right. And then, what was the thought process behind growing this thing?
Well, it's always been something that I kind of would do when my younger brother fights.
Right. Shout out to AJ.
Yeah, so I think his last fight got announced officially like sometime at the end of February of this year. So I started it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very good by the time of his fight, but it worked out at a time where I felt like I could grow it.
You were pot committed. You were in.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
like
what
you got your first tattoo, and it's like, I'm only gonna get one, and then you have to get more. You got
Yes.
halfway into the Fu Manchu, and you were like, "Fuck it, I'm going."
Yeah. So, I didn't know where I was going with it at first, but I was like, I can do it. I have the time to do it.
Yeah.
So like 1 month goes by, and in my head, I'm thinking I'm gonna have this luxurious,
Yeah.
regal mustache, but it didn't happen. But I would talk myself into being just acceptable enough to show up to work. But and now it gets love. Now it gets love. And a lot of people say that the only reason I'm able to do the job that I do is because of it.
The mustache.
Yeah.
People don't want to cross you when they see that. I kind of figured you grew it out just hoping someone would start a fight with you. You're like, dude, if I look like this, dude, someone will start a fight with me in the bar and I'll strangle them.
No, but it's strangely, it's made me more approachable somehow. Like where I feel like people definitely wouldn't have said something.
They probably just think you're wise. You look like a wise old man, dude.
Oh man.
But the thing is, dude, you could duel that to like an old school Irish joint and curl it up, bro, and just come out like this.
I'm owning the downs.
You're owning the downs.
I'm owning the downs.
You totally are.
I'm owning the downs. There is no up for me. I try. It does not work.
Friends in low places. That's what I say, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's my.
So I'm owning the down. I'm owning the down. Like
I like what you've done, man.
I'm gonna go until I'm here.
You gonna go like your homeboy Mike Beltran, dude?
Nah. I mean, everybody goes their own path in this life, including the mustache life.
The mustache life is serious, man. I didn't realize that we were getting into a real philosophy with it, but I like it.
I got a whole book coming out about it. Meatball mustache memoirs.
So your title is Director of Medical? Is that what it is? What's your title for Bellator? Something like that, right?
I honestly don't know, but I believe it's something like medical director.
But you do a whole bunch of different shit.
Nah, for the most part, I do. I focus on all of the pre-fight licensing.
Yeah.
And then post-fight, I work on these guys with the insurance claims when they are going through injuries.
Now, how long have you worked for Bellator?
On this stint now, 7 years or something. Just over 7 years.
That's what's up, man. I've been looking forward to doing this podcast, man. Like, I love when you come to town, dude. You're one of my favorite fucking people. We always have such a good time, man. I knew we had to get you on the Shamrock show. And
I love it.
Super bonus that Eric's in the house, man.
Crazy.
Happy
Life.
to be here.
What did you start off? How did you find yourself working for Bellator? So if anyone doesn't know, because this isn't just like a fight podcast, it's an everything podcast. Bellator is one of the largest MMA organizations in the world, televised on Paramount Network, which used to be Spike TV, and on DAZN app, which is like the #1 sports app right now, especially combat sports, man. You know, they have Canelo coming up and Anthony Joshua. They got all
Triple G and stuff.
Triple G. So, I mean, DAZN has a lot going on. So, you know, it's a major organization with some of the top fighters in the world. How did you find yourself in this job?
Yeah, so I guess like 7 years ago, whenever they moved from Chicago, which is where they were originally based, to Newport Beach, me and my brothers and a friend of mine, Manny Rodriguez, we had a gym in Carlsbad.
An MMA gym?
Yeah, okay. In North County, San Diego. And I just went up there. I just went up to the office, and when they were building it out, and they offered me a job on the spot.
You had managed some fighters?
Yeah, so at the time, yeah, we were managing fighters, and we had a gym, and
yeah,
so a lot of the San Diego guys, the old school dudes.
What was your first position for Bellator?
I mean, it was I drove.
Yeah,
I drove, and
like guys from like the airport to the fight, to hotel to fight, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'd pick dudes up, whatever. At the time, we wore a lot of hats.
Yeah.
So I would also check guys in, and fight night, I would help stage manage, bringing guys from the locker room out to to the cage. These things, and then it just kind of morphed into this position that I now have.
Wow, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Bellator has really become a presence here in Connecticut. You know, it used to be, I remember years ago when you guys first started coming, like people would be like, what's Bellator? And it's like, oh, it's like the UFC, but it's just a different brand. But people now know when Bellator is coming to town, it's what's going on, man. Like people are talking about it, and I see more and more people seem to get involved, and when I go to the fights, it's like, oh shit, it's this guy. Like, why? It's because people are just really finding themselves into it, and I feel like, so Bellator has come to Mohegan Sun now 4 shows a year, 2 times they do back-to-back shows, and so it seems like that Connecticut's been okay to Bellator. Yeah, it seems like you guys do all right here.
Oh, there's a great MMA community out in this area in general, and then Bellator, I feel like gets a lot of love.
Yeah, man, it's something that people really do look forward to, and everyone asks me for tickets all the time, which is a nightmare. Which I can only imagine how you feel. You know what I mean?
They kind of get it now.
But people people will see me like there, and they're like, "Oh, do you got tickets?" Like, what do you think? I just have fucking free tickets to give away to everybody, man. Like people, who I like barely know. People who I'm like cool with, or like customers at Sunsets because they see me cage side, they'll be like, "Oh, let me get some tickets." Like,
it's the worst.
What are you? All right, but whatever. But
the worst is friends that like, oh, yo, I thought we were like, I spend money with you, man.
Right. But I don't know. I think even worse is people who I barely know. Like, why would you think that you could just ask me to give you free? Like, people are so comfortable.
Yeah, well, that's bad.
People are so comfortable these days just asking for free shit, dude. Like,
mm-hmm.
And at least they have a future career asking for cigarettes outside the gas station.
Yeah, man. I don't get it.
But I think a lot of people really got to know Bellator when Brennan Ward ran through that tournament here. I mean, I think that I really think, dude, like someday people will look back on the MMA scene in Connecticut, and even in the Northeast, a lot of attention got paid when he came in on that tournament and won that. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that dude's such a savage, bro.
Yeah, and him and Josh just being the local guys who.
Yeah. That's what it takes. That's what it takes.
Is really kind of what put it on the map here, man. And that was wild when that happened. That was kind of a funny story, man, how he wasn't even supposed to be in the tournament, and then an injury came through and ends up winning the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, that's right. Did he come in late notice on the first fight too?
Yeah, because he was supposed to be a 70er, and it was a 185 tournament, and that's
right.
how he ended up getting locked in at 185. He took the spot, and he was supposed to lose to that kid Justin Torrey in the first round.
Yeah. What a stud, dude.
Yeah, it's just crazy how that. A lot of people think that I know you from Brennan, but I actually knew you from Josh when he had he came. You and him came to Sunsets. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was the first time I met you. It was one of Josh's fight nights, and I was helping Josh prepare for his fight a lot, and you guys came through the Sunsets.
Yeah, that's my boy, dude.
Yeah, shout out to
guys.
Josh, man. Josh is killing it right now. He owns a TKO Concrete, and he's just, dude, he's got these huge jobs, man. Shout out to Josh and TKO Concrete. If you need
Shout
any
out
kind
to
of
Josh.
and you need any kind of work done like that. And that's when I first met you.
I love that guy.
So he was getting his photos done, and we were down in the basement, at
right.
Mohegan, and
right.
and you were doing the photos for the photo shoot for all the fighters, and
That's right.
that's where I met you.
That was a while ago.
That was a while ago. Yeah. That was probably 5 years ago.
Easy.
So you're a professional photographer basically full time, other than the fact that you own California Cold Brew in New Jersey. Where in New Jersey is California Cold Brew?
It's California Cold Co. in Manalapan, New Jersey.
All right.
It's about 10 minutes north of Six Flags.
All right, it's just California Cold Co on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
He's got a dope Instagram. Check it out. And if you're in that area of New Jersey, go to Six Flags, go get some good coffee. But how does somebody become a full-time photographer, dude? Especially working at the kind of we'll get to the talent that you work with, but how did you fall into that profession?
It's not something you could really just fall into. It's something you sort of just have to do and assume. It's a hat you sort of have to wear.
Well, I didn't mean that you fell into the job. I'm just saying
No. I know. It's just, but it's.
Nah, it's not a real job. The camera does the whole job.
For a lot of people,
It's like a race car
He's
driver.
actually said that on this podcast. He was like, I feel like it does it for you, right? I've watched this shit.
That's one way to look at it. But it's something you kind of gotta do, and it's not something you should ever get into if you really want to just make $1 million at.
Right, because
money is not to be your motivating factor if you're getting into any sort of art.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, man. And anytime you're doing an art passion, and hoping to make a living out of it, that's it could be a double-edged sword.
Right.
You could die on your art thinking that your art is great, dude. Right. So not only do you get hurt financially, but emotionally that could be tough, right?
Yeah, you're trying to leave something behind. You're trying to do something that you see as meaningful.
Yeah.
Not everybody can say they get to have a job where they go home every night feeling that they made some sort of they've documented history in some way, or they've done something meaningful in someone's life to where you took pictures of someone in a moment that they'll never replicate.
Right.
They are that person in that moment. And for a lot of fighters, you take pictures of them during fight week where they're at their most lean, they're probably at their athletic peak.
Yeah.
They want to have, when they're 60, 70 years old, they want to be able to look back on that.
Right. And also documenting a huge emotional week too,
Sure.
And I mean the emotions are so high fight week for fighters, up and down.
And that's some of my favorite stuff that I get to do sometimes is once in a while you'll form a bond with a fighter enough to where you can follow them around during a fight week.
Yeah.
And it's a highly personal time. And anybody who's been around any fighters knows that they sort of want to shut out the world during a fight week. They're usually hungry. They're cutting weight, especially if they're at the top level. So to be able to follow them around and get some intimate moments with them, it's stuff that sometimes they're not even happy about with like during the process.
Yeah.
But down the line, years down the line, even weeks down the line.
Yeah.
They love it. I think one of the I guess the favorites that I took was Tony Ferguson and Cowboy in the
yeah, dude, and that one picture that you got of them together was gnarly.
Yeah,
dude.
so I mean, it was a crazy moment.
Yeah.
Neither one of them knew that they were going to be there.
Yeah.
But it just speaks to what consummate professionals they are in the sport. That they were able to be, at their most vulnerable, right in front of each other,
right before they're going to fight.
Right before they're going to fight, the day after.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a meaningful photo.
That's awesome.
And two savages. Shout out to Cowboy and to Tony.
Yeah, dude, and that was a gnarly fight too. But that picture was so dope, dude. When I saw it on your feed, but then I saw it on their feeds and the UFC's feed, and
yeah. It got out of hand for a minute.
That was good, man. That was a really great shot. How did you find yourself working in were you interested in combat sports, or how did this gig just come up, or how did you find yourself working in combat sports as a photographer?
Yeah, so I mean, I was always a huge fan.
Yeah.
I used to sit at work, and I had a desk job, and I was there 50 hours a week. Spent a lot of time on your computer. If there's downtime, I'm watching fights, Pride. A lot of stuff was going on in Japan at the time. I was watching like Shogun and like all Crow Cop and all those guys come up.
Yeah.
A lot of like stuff geared in Japan, really. And Frankie Edgar trained at a gym.
One of my favorite fighters.
Yeah, like down the road from me.
Yeah.
And I actually had a few
Still
friends.
never beat BJ though.
Yeah, right.
For sure, not the first time.
He's been saying this to me for years.
Anyway.
Y'all are crazy.
Racist.
But yeah, I mean, long story short, we ended up doing a photo shoot. Frankie was sort of my first.
Yeah.
Which led to my second photo shoot was Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
Built a relationship with him. Still work with him to this day.
Yeah.
And then my third shoot was Chuck Liddell. So I sort of started
big, right.
Like, and my whole philosophy at the time was fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Like I knew that if I got the proper equipment, I would be able to grow into it, and I was gonna just figure it out.
You just knew you had an eye for it. I mean, you do great. Especially, I love your black and white stuff, dude. You do.
I appreciate it.
Great. You just capture things really well. So Ian, working with medicals, what kind of stuff do guys have to do? Like, so people know before the fight, what kind of stuff do people have to do to get cleared to fight in a professional fight?
Yeah, so it's different. It's different in every state. Every commission does things a little bit different. I would say, for the most part, yeah, sure. Commissions, they'll want at least a physical eye.
Yeah.
And blood work. Some places will go a little bit further and make you do an EKG, MRIs. Some places MRAs. And then some, depending on your age, you might have to do more stuff here and there. It's all different.
So doing those pre-med, what's like the worst thing that can happen for you leading up to? Is it like someone finding out they have an injury they didn't know they had, or like something on a scan, or like what fucks up your week?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not really me, but I guess the worst thing would be, these guys finding something in their scan, you know.
Right.
More than anything, we want these guys to be okay. You know?
Right.
We just want to at least be able to have enough time to deal with it properly and make sure we get this guy to the right doctors and they do what they need to do, you know.
That's what's up, man. Yeah. I got to say, from the outside looking in, for both of you guys, one of the coolest parts of what you're doing has got to be that you get to travel. You just came back from Japan, right?
Yeah.
And that was is that your second time in Japan, right?
Yep.
On the company, on being part of your job.
Yeah,
right?
both were for work events. Well, one time my brother was fighting as well, but then I worked the second event. It was like there was 2 shows over 3 days.
Okay.
Ryzen's first show.
Yeah.
And then I was just out there for Patricky Pitbull's first round of the lightweight Grand Prix that they're doing right now. So that was cool. Kicked it with Hollywood Case and those guys from Vegas and then Patricky and Patricio.
I just think it's really dope. Like, what I really like to try to get out in this podcast, man, is people who get places without taking the traditional route. Like, you didn't go to college for fight promotion, and then and then you took you get out of college and you took like people do with these different kind of jobs that are like cookie cutter jobs. Like you said, you had a gym and you were managing guys, and you just saw an opening, dude, and you went for it. Like, even as a person, I don't know if you realize how kind of dope that is, man. Like, to just, you see they're building this office, like, fuck it, I'm gonna go in and ask for a job, like.
Yeah, a lot of it came from mixed martial arts too. Actually, my older brother got me into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at a very young age, like 14 or 15, whatever I was when I started rolling. And at that time, it's still a small world. So at that time, it was an even smaller world, right?
Yeah.
So the people that we knew were involved, and a lot of times like connections are the person that you know.
Yeah.
So some of the people that I was working with, on the management side and in the gym business and getting guys fights, were involved with Bellator season 1 and stuff. So I was able to get vouched on, you know.
Yeah, but I mean that's really dope, man. They come from just not in the business. I mean, in the business, but in a different facet. You know what I mean? On the other side of the table, it's like eating at a restaurant, and then all of a sudden you own a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like you weren't working necessarily against the promotion, but you were working for your fighters, and then all of a sudden you're with the promotion, man, and a big. I mean, I know they didn't start off so big. They started off, but you know, they're really at a mainstream peak right now. You know.
Yeah, no. Again, it just goes to the people that I was training with, honestly, at the time, and then my brothers and guys like Manny Rodriguez they introduced me to at a young age. And then I was always so afraid of them because they would just beat the shit out of me training, you know.
Yeah.
And so I never wanted to let them down, so I'd always perform. And, I mean, I think it's paid off. I still go to Manny this day. I'm like, I don't want to let you down, you know? And he's like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I forgot I even got you that job, you know?
That's what's up, though, man. I mean, that's cool that it means a lot to you like that. You know?
Yeah. No, that's how I roll, for sure.
I mean, it seems like Bellator is a really cool thing going on. Just they're young and they're like a little bit more laid back, it seems like, than other promotions. And you know, they're not afraid to do some fun. They do a lot. I think they're checking a lot of boxes. You know what I mean? They're kind of spreading the vision.
I think they're in a good position to be able to take a lot of risks.
Yeah.
That other promotions can't. You know.
Most of them seem to pay off. I mean, you know, I know obviously all of them can't, but shout out to Dada 5000 or whatever his name is. But you know, more hits than misses, man. Right. You know, and it's kind of cool to watch, man. And it's been cool to watch grow even just here locally. To remember going to shows, to the fact that you can do 2 shows and have thousands of people there back to back nights. You know what I mean? And even the crowds at weigh-ins are starting to grow a little bit, and you know, you guys bring a lot of big names to Connecticut, which is really fucking cool, man. Because like, it seems like when the UFC does like a Northeast show, for the most part, I mean, you know, the Madison Square Garden, I guess, is different. But a lot of times when they come to Boston, it's kind of a second tier show. When you guys bring really, really high level guys, and it's also dope because they're walking around. I see pictures like on Instagram, everyone I know meeting all these fighters because they're just walking around Mohegan Sun for the whole week, man, which is really cool, man. And I know that
it's a great casino venue.
I know that fans really appreciate that when a guy can walk down the hall and bump into Chael Sonnen or MVP or something. You know what I mean? Like really famous guys. You know, I think that really builds something to somebody who wasn't maybe going to buy a ticket, and then they bump into MVP in the hotel lobby, and they're like, shit, you know what? This guy was really cool. I got to go tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think that speaks to the accessibility of MMA in general.
Yeah, the fighters do, in like all the you know, in the UFC, which I'm not trying to keep saying those 3 letters over and over in a Bellator podcast.
Shout out to one.
But all the fighters, dude, really seem to be down to earth. Like, yes. I've met Connor 4 times, and every time he's taken time out to just be cool. You know what I mean? Like, even when I could tell, like one of the times I was at SBG, actually went over there. Shout out to my boy Adrian, Ado, that he was sort out. Yeah. So he was working in that gym for a while, and I went in. I was hanging out with him, and Connor got done doing a workout, and he was on his way out, and I could tell he was kind of in a rush, but he was still took a minute to be like, "Oh, what's up?" Blah blah blah, blah, and then he bounced. You know, but he like you could tell he didn't want to do it, but he was covering it up really well. But it just goes to I don't know. The only bad experience I've ever had with a fighter is Chris Weidman.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
Dude, so in one of the worst nights of my life, dude. So it was the night Bellator had a show and Mohegan at Mohegan Sun, and the UFC did a show at Fox. Was the same fucking night. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And Brendan fought Tandon McCrory.
Yeah.
Dude, in the morning of the day before that fight, Brendan's like, I'm gonna lose this fight. Like, you know, he wasn't into it at that time, and he already lost the fight. And I was all down, so I went over to Foxwoods, just to kind of see what was going on over there. And a friend of mine, Steve Mays. You know Steve Mays? You know who that is? He's Joe Lozon's boxing coach. He's probably had some guys. Yeah. But either way, so he was like, "Yo, I can get you into Dana White's party." So we went over, And I'm walking through the casino, you know, and this is after the fights. And there's like nobody around, dude. And it's me and my girl. And then I was like, holy shit, Chris Weidman was champion. And I was like, holy shit, it's Chris Weidman. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? And he was like right here. And he just like looked over me. And I was like, yo, Chris, what's up, man? And I wasn't asking for a picture. I was just trying to shake his hand. And his boy, it might have been Gian Volante, but I don't know for sure. Like, 'cause I didn't know who he was at that time. Was like, yo, keep it moving. I was like, whoa, all right, dude.
Damn.
But other than that, I've really never had a bad experience with a MMA fighter, man. Even weigh-in weeks when they're cutting weight and shit, like they all seem to be pretty solid. More so than like NBA. I've met a lot of NBA and NFL players, and it's not the same vibe.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to speak to what you were saying. I mean, I've had mostly good experiences with fighters. The only bad experience I've ever had were like you, with like camp members.
Okay.
And 2 times with GSP.
Really?
Yeah, twice.
Yeah?
Yeah, twice. Yeah, not him himself. It was his
crew.
It was his crew. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. No, I mean just like, you know, I get it. Like a lot of fans, especially in MMA, I guess, get a little weird.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess then they don't know your background, and they don't know you work in the sport. You don't know everybody. It's a small community, but it's still hard to know everybody. I guess I went to go say hi to him, and I got pushed off one. I won't say who.
Yeah.
I got pushed off once, and then
Like physically pushed?
Yeah, like stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next time actually pissed me off. GSP was in the cage with someone else.
Yeah.
And I was actually the photographer for that promotion at the time. And I went to go take pictures of him in the cage.
Yeah.
You know, with someone else. And his buddy actually shoves my camera aside and says I can't take pictures. And that's a big no-no.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. And it's out of your jurisdiction too. You don't get to dictate what goes on in essentially the promotion's cage. You know,
dude. Right now, I wish I could do a GSP accent and like talk shit to you, but I can't do accents.
That would be great.
That's fine. He's looking a little light lately.
Hey, this is gonna go down to 55. And
no, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I was actually at his fight with Bisping.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was backstage for that fight.
Man,
dude, did Bisping have one eye for that fight?
Yeah, he had one eye for
That's
few.
wild, dude.
Yeah.
So, where's your favorite place that you've got to travel with Bellator, Ian? Mohegan Sun, Connecticut?
It's up there. Easily top 4.
It's like a home. It's like a home here.
But I would say Dublin.
Coming in February, Dublin.
Yeah, Dublin was one of my all-time favorite trips.
Well, there was a string of trips. I used to be with Bellator.
Yep.
I spent 6 years with the promotion. There was one string of events that we did. I think that we both enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
I think we went from Tel Aviv, or was it Florence to Tel Aviv, then to Dublin.
I'm not sure. I thought those were different stretches, but I could be wrong.
They might have been. I could be wrong too.
All those were great.
Either way, it's a bunch of fucking dope
But
places.
I remember walking around. We were staying in a little town outside Dublin called Clondalkin.
Yep. Yeah. So, cut you
Shout out
off.
to Clondalkin.
Cut you off, dude. I wonder if it's even the
Bangers
same
and mash.
place. The first time I went to Dublin, right? I was like, I didn't really understand that Dublin isn't really a city. Dublin is as much as what, like saying Connecticut. It's like a state, and then there's different parts of Dublin. You know, like so proper 12, where Connor was from, is Crumlin, which is like District 12 in Dublin. You know, but it's its own city. So I stayed at a hotel in Clondalkin, which was the Green Emerald, Green Isle, some bullshit, right? Nice hotel, but it was like a 45-minute bus ride into town, or it was like a 10-minute cab drive, but it cost you like $30 each way. You know what I mean? I was like, what a mistake. But
Yeah.
my bad. You stayed in Clondalkin.
No. We went there from Tel Aviv. So we went from Tel Aviv to Clondalkin.
Where's Tel Aviv? Israel?
Israel.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's like right on the water, dude.
Yeah.
Sick.
I remember we walked around for like 2 hours looking for a laundromat. We had these roller cases. We stopped into a pub.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then we stopped at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. I mean, it was a great little town.
What's the worst thing that's happened to you traveling? Like, not necessarily like business-wise, but just like like, for example, right? This is like a little TMI. So I have sleep apnea. I have a CPAP mask. You know what that is?
Yeah, I have one as well.
Okay. So I didn't bring a converter one time when I went to Ireland, and I was there for 2 weeks solo. First night, fried it. And dude, I just can't sleep without it. So I went 2 weeks with just like no sleep, bags worse than this under my eyes, just like miserable.
I don't know why that's so funny.
Because it's funny, it sucks, but like I was, I didn't even think of it. Was I was like, all right, I brought the adapters because you have to have like a different plug, but there's also like a power because I had an older machine and it wasn't like it didn't
those loud ones.
Yeah. So that was like the worst travel thing that happened to me, like going because you guys go to all these different countries and different customs, different cultural experiences. Like, you ever been jammed up bad like that with something?
I mean, I've gotten jammed up. One of the scariest ones was actually going to Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
When I was in like Frankfurt, Germany, or somewhere like that, somewhere in Germany.
Yeah.
I had a really odd story where I had to go through 3 different security passages in order to get to the terminal.
Yeah.
And in that terminal, you had to go through another security pass before they put you on a bus and take you to the plane with an armed guard.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So they asked me to step aside, and they brought my roller into a little room no bigger than this room.
Yeah.
With 10 people in it.
Yeah.
Well, I was the last person still in that room, and about 5 minutes before we're ready to go, one of the guys comes in with my hydro flask.
What's a hydro flask?
A hydro flask is basically a water jug.
Okay.
To like save the environment.
Yeah. So I had it in my camera bag.
Yeah.
And they had my camera roller. And of all things for him to come into the room with, this is the last thing I would have ever suspected.
Yeah.
Well, he comes up to me and he looks at me and he points at it and he goes, "What's this?" I go, "It's a water bottle."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Where'd you get it?" And mind you, we're in Germany. So
Yeah.
I said, "In the United States." He goes, "Where?" So, New Jersey.
Yeah.
He goes, "Where?" I was like, "Dick's Sporting Goods," And then he goes, and then walks away.
Just as I suspected.
Then a lady 5 minutes later rolls my roller into the room and lets me go. And it was the oddest transaction I've ever. The only other time
That bad of a trip.
Well, no,
but
didn't even get a glove or a finger in the butt.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was suspect. The only other time something like that's happened is in France when they actually tore my roller apart.
Yeah.
They took the compartments out of it. But other than that, I've had
Either of these, like no jail time, no.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Rookie shit.
Well,
I'm a plebeian.
I didn't know that he was looking for locked up abroad. You know what I mean?
No, I had a bad trip coming home from that, though. I always tell people, like, traveling for work is cool, but, like, a bad travel day is just terrible. The actual travel days can be bad. But I got stuck at the Dublin airport for, like, 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then I got stuck overnight in London.
Yeah.
The next day we had to rebook in the airport. It was just terrible, so.
It actually didn't work out too bad. We'll leave that for later.
Yeah. But all that still sounds. 8 hours in an airport is not a great way to spend 8 hours.
No.
I mean, I guess in Dublin,
and then
though, at least you
overnight
get a
in
drink.
London. No, it was cool, and we were there with a good group of people. But yeah.
So doing medicals, what's the worst injury you've had to deal with?
Like post fight.
Yeah, so like MMA seems
Man,
for people who aren't like MMA fans, a lot of people like look back and think that it's brutal, but what it's more superficial injuries. It seems to be, long-term time will tell, but like boxing is significantly more. I mean, there was just a kid, Patrick Day, that just died. I don't know if you saw that in New York. Because when you see like a guy in boxing, he'll get knocked down and then where he's clearly been concussed, and then he'll get 10 seconds to come back to it again, and that's where you take those second shots. Where in MMA, a referee will stop because there's ground strikes allowed. So if you see a guy get dropped and not knocked down, but like he was clearly out of it, they'll stop it. And also the gloves. With the less padding, the hands break more easy, which doesn't sound like a positive, but it keeps you from beating somebody's head in for 12 rounds with the cushion, because a boxing glove, really all that does is protect the hand. It doesn't protect the guy.
Yeah, you're not going to swing 100% at the top of somebody's head with a small glove.
Right. But like if you and I are in a boxing match, the gloves that I'm wearing, they're not to protect your head. They're protecting my hand, which a lot of people is a big misconception. They don't realize. They think that it's just there to protect your knuckles. When you have less there, that's why like bare knuckle boxing is the argument is that it's actually much safer. You see a lot of superficial cuts and things like that, but the damage that can be done, you can't bare fist punch somebody for a significant period of time. That's the thought process anyway.
Yeah. I would say to talk about a post-fight injury.
Yeah.
One that I would say is one of the worst ones that I've seen, at least in the recent past, is and I'll just talk about it because he was very public about it. But earlier this year, at the end of April, Liam McGarry, when he fought Phil Davis, he got his jaw broken.
Oh, I love Liam too, man.
Yeah, he's a savage. Shout out Liam and Phil. Phil fights this weekend too here at Mohegan, and but he broke his jaw in a place where it also like shattered that deepest, that with the one with the extra root. So like 3 roots instead of just 2, like shattered that tooth. And anyways, he gets wired shut for 8 weeks, right? And he goes back 8 weeks later to get it taken off. Yeah. Gets it taken off. They do a precautionary scan to make sure everything took. Yeah. And when they do the scan, they find out that there's like scar tissue in between and it's not healed right. They have to re-break it, put a bigger plate in.
He broke his jaw?
Yeah, put a bigger plate in. And then wire him shut for another 8 weeks.
I knew that he got rewired shut, but I didn't realize they had to re-break his jaw.
Yeah, so he just, I think he's, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what all he said, but he's
he posted like X-ray, and he shows he showed a lot.
Yeah, so
you're not really spilling anything.
Yeah, he went through it just twice, and then on top of that, he still has like 4 to 6 months of recovery time from now. This guy he's gonna be out over a year easily.
You should write a song like Kanye West, dude, through the wire.
Oh man, I don't know. I love that guy though.
Yeah, no, Liam McGarry is cool as shit, man. I've got to spend some time with him here. You didn't work the show, but the craziest injury, I believe you didn't work the show. The craziest injury I ever seen was Cyborg's skull, dude.
Oh yeah, I worked that.
You were there for that?
Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think you were there. Where was that in Italy?
London.
Well, that was in London.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, I didn't think that you were there on that.
It was crazy. So, in London too, the way they do cabs, like sometimes after an event, I'll go straight to the hospital, right? But I can Uber. Well, in London, they have like the black cab taxis, right? Yeah. So I have like a taxi line. Yeah. I wait in this line. It takes me.
Right, because you can't like hail a cab. You have to wait your turn.
It literally took me 2 hours just to get into a cab, and then it took me like another 45 minutes to get to the hospital. Well, I get there, and he's on some meds. He's feeling a lot better than he was in the fight. That's for sure. And he's trying to tell me that he wants to fight again, and I'm looking at him, and I'm trying to keep a straight face, but it was crazy because it wasn't black and blue. It wasn't swollen. It was literally just like a green, like sunk in hole on his forehead, dude. Yeah. And so I kick it with him for like 2.5 hours there. Yeah. And the doctor's like, hey, you can't stay here overnight. I was like, all right, well, what should I do? They're like, come back at 8 a.m. and when we do a re-eval, and we'll know what we're going to do from there, if he wants to fly home or if it's safe to fly home and do the surgery there or if we need to do it here. So I get a call at like 7:15, and it's the hospital, and they're like, hey, your boy just checked himself out.
What an animal.
We couldn't stop him, but there's nothing there's nothing we could do,
Right.
But we wanted to let you know he just left.
Yeah.
So I like get my stuff on, I go downstairs, and he's at the breakfast buffet ordering an omelet, and I'm like, Cyborg, what are you doing, dude? Yeah. And he looks at me, and he's so out of it still, hole in his head, and he's like, I'm trying to eat so I can make this shuttle to my flight. The doctor had already said he couldn't fly anywhere for like 72 hours or whatever,
Yeah, was that because of the pressure?
Yeah. So he had to chill for a little bit. And, anyways. Somehow it wasn't an emergency surgery.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how.
Dude, I might get swapped to dub this over to show this thing, but like, just think of it. It was like if say you had a hard-boiled egg, dude, and then you just punched it. Like,
yeah. So the guy comes in like he's gonna throw an overhand right or shoot for a takedown.
I think it was shooting.
And the dude went jump knee.
Knee to the forehead, man. Avoid that.
He didn't even get knocked out.
No, I know.
He just got a hole in his head, and that's what I was trying to get to earlier. Like, something happened, and anyways, we were trying to get him in a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, what about emergency surgery? Isn't it emergency surgery? Yeah. And they were like, no, it's not. It's not an emergency. I was like, oh, just a hole in his head. No emergency. But yeah, technically, by the definition, it wasn't somehow. Got him taken care of.
Because he didn't have damage to the brain. It was just a bone.
There was
it was just
damage.
A bone injury.
Just a broken bone. Yeah.
That's freaking wild.
Yeah.
Dude. That's absolutely wild.
Really crazy.
So then it's
cyborg, man.
So then it's your job to make sure that these guys see a doctor. Like, 'cause for Bellator insurance to cover, I'm just thinking of something I read online. Like, they have to report it immediately or within a certain period of time frame?
Yeah,
Is that how it works?
They have 30 days to kind of report anything, but they also have to be seen for that or something at least within those 30 days.
Does everyone have to see a doctor after a fight or no?
You don't have to.
No. I just didn't know if there was...
The only time that you really have to is if you got a suspension and it requires some sort of doctor visit to get it lifted and you want to continue fighting.
But they generally give like short suspensions anyway after any knockout, right? But
well, some of them, if the knockout's bad enough, they'll require a scan to come back. Like, it's not just 60 days later you can start fighting again. Right. So, sometimes it is, you know. Yeah. It's a flash KO or whatever. Just depends on the commission and how they did their suspensions.
So outside of MMA, somebody I see Eric spending quite a bit of time with is adult actress Christy Mack.
That's my homie. How
did that come to fruition? And how does your girlfriend deal with that?
My wife loves it.
Sorry, my fault. I forgot you're married. Sorry.
No, they're actually pretty close. They're actually pretty tight.
Dang, Christine, I tried to tell him.
Yeah, they're actually pretty tight.
So how'd you meet Christy Mack? And how does other people meet Christy Mack?
I'm not even sure I'm not sure if it's a story I should go into just because of her own history with you know, with some abuse.
Oh, but was it through that same?
It was through that.
Okay.
You know, I was asked if I could go. He had asked me if I could go get her at the airport one day.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was like 2 a.m. in Dallas. We were like 2.5 hours out from the hotel, and I had a car.
I never thought of that connection on how you would have gotten to that.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of bad that I guess, you know, turned into something good, but it's hard to speak on that.
Yeah. No, and then there's no reason to get into that anyway. But what's Christy Mack like as a person?
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
she's quick-witted.
Yeah,
you know, she's got one of the most incredible senses of humor you'll ever find.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, she's intelligent, and she can hold a conversation. You know.
Now, where do you usually shoot with her? Does she come to New Jersey? Do you link
depends.
up? Like,
depends. I mean,
you travel to her?
I've shot at like a few of her homes with her before. We've shot in New Jersey. We've shot in Phoenix and Dallas. We've shot all over the place.
Is she? I bet you shoot all over the place.
Not my joke.
Is she? Is she still an active adult star?
No. She hasn't been for quite a few years. Yeah. You know, she tours the country right now. She's a dancer.
Yeah. Like clubs.
Yeah,
she's a feature.
Right. Absolutely.
So I managed strip clubs for 7 years, so I dealt with a lot of feature acts and stuff like that.
She makes a killing traveling the country all over the world. She does photo shoots.
Yeah.
You know, she's modeling. She's
does a lot of like club appearances and stuff like that too.
Appearances, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, she's great.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So when I was managing strip clubs, I went out on a date with a porn star. This girl, she wasn't like of that level, but she was doing the stuff with like Bang Bros, and like Kimbo Slice was her bodyguard before he had fights. And we went out on a date, but I didn't try to do anything because I knew my game wasn't porn star level. I was like 23.
You saw the Carfax?
Yeah, I saw the Carfax. But that was just like my thing. I once went on a date with an adult actress.
Anybody we know?
Her name was Cameron Kiss.
Okay.
If you want to look her up. She was out of Rhode Island, but She,
I'll bookmark that.
I've made some adult films, but I've never been with an actor.
Jesus. Yeah.
I guess they're all actresses, though.
Well, the mustache does speak to it, right? That's part of the job application for that, yeah?
Got it.
His brother's is better.
Yeah. This is AJ's a bear-looking guy. What's
He's a good-looking dude.
Yeah, he's a stud. When's he fighting again?
I don't know. We're trying to do something.
Yeah.
We're getting the wheels in motion.
Wheels
now.
in motion.
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting into a nice routine and he's feeling good.
He's coaching full time, right? Or like
Yeah.
I see on his story all the time is that Syndicate.
Yeah, Syndicate MMA.
Yeah.
Out there in Vegas. So if you're there, cruise through.
Go say what up. Tell AJ you heard about him on the Shamrock show.
Yeah. Get 10% maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Shout out to Thug Tie.
Thug Thigh Thursdays.
Must be Thursday. Is it Thursday? It
almost.
is Thursday.
What's the highest maintenance part about working in the fight game? What's the worst part of your job?
Well, I mean, I'm only dealing with issues, really, for the most part.
Right, like what?
Crisis management, just putting fires out, taking care of things. There's something always messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I cut you off before, but I was saying of your favorite places to go, what's the easiest to work, or like the I won't say the easiest, like they're not doing shit, but like the smoothest relationships that you have? Is it California because you guys are a West Coast promotion, or is it like going to Europe, or like what's when you see like, hey Ian, we have a show here, when you're like, cool, what's a good spot for you?
I don't know. They all have their difficulties, but probably Thackerville, Oklahoma.
You guys go there a lot. I have no idea what a Thackerville is, other than I know Bellator goes there.
They like fried pies.
Fried pies? What does that mean?
I'm not sure. Apparently there's hearty ones, but I've only had the fruity ones because they can travel.
Okay.
The other ones you kind of got to order in, I believe.
It's supposed to be the largest casino in the world, right?
Or maybe it's the longest.
I think it's the largest.
It has the most slots per square foot or some bullshit.
Really? Yeah. I'll have to go out there for a show sometime. Dude.
I mean, I got a couple spots.
Yeah, I'll come check it out, man.
We can get a meatball app for sure.
For sure, man. But you come to Connecticut, pizza's the joint. When I went up to, you had the show in Bridgeport. We went to that place. They had that hot oil pie. I forget the name of that place, man. Colony in
that place was
Stamford,
legit.
Connecticut.
I had it every day.
Did you, dude?
Actually, and every day I increased my pizza slice intake, I believe. Well, because with you I only had 2 slices or something.
Right.
After that, min 6.
Yeah.
Min 6.
Dude, wow, this place is like famous. So so these guys come from the West Coast and they're talking about pizza, and they Google the top pizza places in the country, and most of them are in Connecticut, if not New York and Rhode Island, but a lot of Connecticut. And one was right by the hotel they were staying.
It was like number 38 or something.
Yeah, and they have something called a hot oil pie. Like, what the fuck's a hot oil pie? But it's like they just drizzle like some. Well,
they cook. They do bell peppers. Right. In an oil, and they bake it all day.
This guy really got it down.
And then so they'll do the cheese pizza, and then they take like a little ladle and they kind of just put the oil that's been soaking in this pepper on there.
Right, but it's wild, dude. It's an Irish pub, and it's like this old place, but they have the pizza, and it's fucking dope, man.
I went every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What area, like, what is California? What's their food like? So Connecticut. Like,
well, we have the best everything.
Besides pizza.
I would say.
100%.
No.
Besides pizza.
We have the best pizza too.
Get out of here.
California Pizza Kitchen and shit. I'm just playing. No. One of my favorite things about traveling is to eat.
Right.
Yeah, but California though, we do have a lot of.
Is it the Mexican food? Like I had
Southern California has
SoCal.
Yeah.
Like I had my first guacamole ever in SoCal, and what the hell was the thing called? I don't know, some dope burrito though.
Carne asada.
Yeah.
100%.
Which, cause like I don't.
That should change this dude's life too.
Yeah, man. So my girlfriend's cousin lives in San Diego, and we went out, and he's like, "Yo, you gotta try this."
That's where I'm from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
I
dude,
grew up in Jersey, but I'm from San Diego.
all right. Well, for a fat kid, I'm super picky about like what I eat, dude. And I'm like, oh, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. And I was just like, balls deep in it. And it was
Where'd you go?
tremendous.
Oh, so good.
I wish I could tell you, man. I wish I could tell you, but it was bomb.
I have 2 spots in San Diego that I recommend to anybody who wants to try a carne asada burrito.
What do you got?
One is a place called El Puerto Taco
Yeah.
in the Spring Valley area.
Puerto, is that the window or the door or
I have
something?
no idea.
Puerto.
And then the other one's like sort of a chain. It's called Sombrero.
Yeah. That's
But
a hat.
Amazing. Amazing.
Bueno.
Amazing.
So you know what's kind of funny? It's like how we're set up here. So I'm Irish. You're Filipino.
He's Irish too, though.
We're both half.
Oh, I thought he was just half and half. I thought he could be like our love child.
Yeah.
No.
I'm
Oh.
half Polish. Yeah.
You thought this fool was full Filipino?
Yeah, I did.
No.
I know he's
He's
got
got
the
full Filipino
he's got the
teeth.
he's got the jacket on.
I've got more facial hair.
I didn't know they let you have the jacket, so I figured.
That's true. It's Philadelphia. I thought it was Philadelphia.
I did too, dude. And then I saw somewhere else on it. It says it. I was like, oh,
my uncle got me this when I was in
It's
Manila.
Filipinas?
Yep. We got him tickets. Well, Eddie Alvarez gave my uncle tickets to his fight at 1 in Manila, and he was so happy with it. He
Thriller, Manila. Did you go? You went to Manila?
yeah.
How was that?
Unbelievable. I've been there before. My parents actually live in the Philippines. I've been to Manila plenty of times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's definitely come a long way. You know, more malls per square kilometer than I've ever seen in my entire
No
life.
AC either.
No AC.
So like you just try on clothes.
Call it aircon.
The fucking it's terrible.
Really?
Yeah. No ice cubes. Ice cubes are hard to come by.
So don't put that on my to-do list.
Oh no, you want to go?
Yeah, you
I don't know,
definitely.
dude. I'm a hot guy, dude. I run hot, man. I don't know.
Well, then you
go.
take a shower. There's no hot water. Cool down, bro.
Deadly. What's the worst food you ever been to? Where you ever been somewhere in a country where you're just like,
Ooh.
fuck, I can't eat anything
Yeah,
here, dude?
the pizza room service that I got in Osaka, Japan was terrible.
You mean Japanese pizza wasn't killer?
No,
See, I loved everything in
Was it
Japan.
like California pizza?
I think
no, it was
7-Eleven
worse.
I think 7-Eleven in Japan is
They had like chicken breasts and stuff. It was crazy.
unbelievable. They have like
bowls of rice and stuff.
musubi and crazy stuff.
Really?
Unbelievable. Coffee's amazing.
I know we were talking about this before, man, but I just want to have the sushi. Dude, I love sushi so much. The best sushi I've ever actually had in my life was in Huntington Beach, dude.
Okay.
This place called Sushi on Fire. Dave Thomas took me and Melissa there, and
I've heard of it.
dude, it was killer. But everywhere on the West Coast I had sushi was way better than here. And my theory on it is that it's closer to Japan. The California is closer to Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my.
So our fish has more radiation.
Hell yeah, I'll take it, dude. I'm trying to get superpowers. That's my barroom psychology. Is it's closer to Japan, so it's better Japanese food.
I'll buy it.
You
But
in?
you know what though? Even in California, there's a lot of sushi spots that serve frozen fish.
Really,
Yeah.
dude? Did you
They're
see?
few and far where they're serving.
Dude, I saw a
fresh.
thing in California where the shrimp were testing positive for cocaine. Did you see that?
Yeah, San Diego especially.
Really?
Yeah, Molly too.
That's
I'm just
oh,
fentanyl.
those shrimp are partying, bro.
Shrimp is
Is
lit.
that true?
I saw a meme the other day. It's like, you told me a shrimp fried this rice? I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was so stupid. Man.
Dad jokes.
Oh man.
When you're old, it's the thing.
Uh-huh.
So this weekend, there's 2 shows at Bellator. This will come out after it, but Friday and Saturday night, there's big shows. The Friday night show is 2 real legends, Frank Mir and Roy Nelson. Most guys who are casual fans even will know at least one of them.
You like both of them, right?
I do. I actually hate that fight, but I'm excited to see Frank. I've never seen Frank Mir fight live, so I'm excited to see that. And I like Roy because he's fat. You know what I mean? And,
Throws down.
yeah, you know, and his wife was so nice to me when I sat next to her when he fought Mitch Rion. So I mean, he made me a loyal fan for sure.
Yeah.
There. But dude, that Saturday night is Douglas Lima and Rory McDonald, man, and that is a scrap, dude.
It's a heater.
That's I believe for the best 170-pound fighter in the world.
Damn, yeah. Coker said that on his Twitter the other
I
day too.
co-sign all the way.
Really?
Well, look at the guys that Rory's beat, man. You know,
Yeah. Between the two of them,
I don't think
it's pretty impressive.
you know. I'm not.
Especially right now.
Yeah.
Think about the field.
Well, there's not like
right
a
now.
long, dominant 70-pound
That's
champion.
what I mean.
Right? You know what I mean? There's not a guy you can be like, well, this guy's been killing everybody. Like, Usman hasn't defended his belt. So
That's what I'm saying.
it's hard to tell how good he is. And Rory's so dynamic, and Douglas Lima's so violent, dude. He's just like
Although
a
those guys
fighter.
are good. I think Usman's good. Colby's good. You know,
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's fair to call the winner of this fight the most accomplished 170-pounder.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, we never get to see the guys go against each other. I know Bellator is down for it. They've said that they're down for inter-promotion, but UFC doesn't run their business that way.
Right.
I think they got more to lose.
Right.
To a point, but
No, yeah. I mean, they do.
but I think that's just to the, I guess, to the casual fan, but to the guys who like really care, which is like the nerds like me, is few and far between. They don't really care who wins and loses a fight. It's just they want to see a fight.
Yeah, you guys are all over in Japan.
Yeah, that's where I belong.
All the
Eating
respect
sushi in
and-
Japan, and I'd be like, at least a promising upcomer in sumo culture. It's an office reference.
It was cool. It's cool over there though. Like when we arrived, like everybody goes over early for the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
And even when we arrived at like 11:30 a.m., there's people outside of the arena, like just waving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's dope,
And
man.
then they were waiting afterwards, and then in the hotel, and nobody cares about winning or losing. Yeah. That respect for just getting in there, you know.
Right, and that's how it should be, man. And I get like the average person doesn't really get, you know, they see a guy get knocked down, like he sucks, and you have no idea how awesome that guy is. But
Right.
just to me, seeing two guys like just putting it all on the line, man, is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. That's just such high stakes.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, it's I think it's like an outlet thing for them as well. I really love the Japanese culture. When you're there, I mean, there wasn't one point that I ever was walking around at night or in the day or whenever that I ever felt in danger.
Well, it's because you're bigger than everybody in the whole
Well, I mean,
country.
that's true too. That's true too.
Got
But
zero.
I was also walking around with Eddie Alvarez and Robin Van Roosmalen, who's actually fighting Saturday.
Well, I remember B was
Watch out for him.
Oh yeah.
I remember B was over there for that Risen event. Me and Ian were talking this the other day, and he was
I cornered him
he
for
was
that.
trying to buy some. He's like, "Yo, there's all these dope Nikes that they have over there."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Do you have this in a size 10?" And she's like, "No." He's like, "You have this in a size 10?" She's like, "No." He's like, "You have this?" She's like, "No 10s, no 10s." You know what I mean? Because everybody's little over there. I got a 13. I'd be fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
It's like you ever buy something online from Japan, and it's like, I'll buy something that's like a 6X, and it comes over, and like my daughter can wear it. Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, the culture does wear off, though. We went to my house before this, and Ian asked to take his shoes off. So, I mean.
Yeah. I think we all grow up like that when we're Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to do that too.
Dude,
We would get beat, yo.
my first accidental racism in my whole life, dude. I'll never forget this, right? Accidental racism. So, check this out. So, I was like probably 10, and I'm doing karate, you know, like everybody does karate. And me and my dad and my stepmother, we went out to eat at like a Chinese restaurant. And I told the waiter came over, dude. And I was like, "Oh, I do karate," and like, because I just assumed that all Asian people did karate. And I just remember seeing my dad's face; he was like mortified. And I couldn't understand why. I thought that all Asian people do karate.
It's a fair assumption. We all do.
I love it.
Dude, I'll never forget the look on my dad's face and being so confused as to why I wasn't, like, why he looked at me like that. But, like, I was just so, I thought that the guy would be, like, convinced, maybe give us a discount or something, you know? Like, oh, he's one of us, you know? Like,
Relate.
yeah.
I could see it.
Did it work?
No, probably not, dude. I don't know. I think I ordered chicken fingers and ketchup, you know? I don't know. Fuck this guy. I was a kid. So, Eric, California Cold Go. How did this come to be?
It's funny too because I think a lot of it had to do with what we were doing. Everywhere we would go, we would travel. Ian and I were always when we were traveling together, probably first and second on the ground.
Yeah.
We'd travel a lot together. One of the first things we would do when we hit the ground is go to a coffee shop, go get coffee. It was actually an obsession for me.
Yeah.
I would have to go get coffee, and sometimes in certain places I would have to go to every spot they had.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's weird.
yeah. I mean, in Austin, I went to 25 places. In London, I probably went to 10, 15 places.
I went to a lot of taco trucks too.
Yeah. I've never been to a food truck, but anyway.
For sure.
What?
I've never been to a food truck. It's on my to-do list.
Oh wow.
There's a whole row in New
There's a
Haven.
culture of-
Yeah, in New Haven, Connecticut. Sometimes from the highway, when I'm going to New York, I'll see it on the water. There's this whole lineup of all these trucks. I've just
That's
never
tight.
been to a food truck, dude.
That's
Yeah,
tight.
they do that outside the Viacom.
When they do it good, or they do it good.
I'm just waiting till I
In
get famous.
Portland downtown, they have a whole little food truck area and stuff too.
I'm just waiting to get famous enough to do Brennan Schaub's Food Truck Diaries
Yeah, soon.
soon. But anyway, coffee addict.
No, I mean that was basically it. Everywhere I went, I'd find something that I either liked or didn't like, and I'd wonder why it wasn't all.
You felt like there was more coffee nerds in the world that had to have their coffee like that.
Yeah, I mean New Jersey isn't really known for having a coffee culture,
Right.
So I thought it was a nice thing to.
So what is cold brew mean? Because I literally don't know. I'm not a coffee guy. When something's cold brew,
Cold brew is basically it's cold water immersion of coffee. So typically, when you take when you want a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
you take hot water and you'll steep it somehow, or you'll drip it through the beans, and it comes out and you have coffee.
Yeah.
With cold brew, what we do is we actually immerse all of the grinds in cold water.
Yeah.
And then we leave it to steep overnight for 24 hours. So it results in a smoother coffee. It tastes lighter, but it's also super potent. So it's like rocket fuel. So it's you get a lot of the flavor, you get none of the acidity. It's a really nice.
You ever make Irish coffees with it? Little spike joints.
I can't talk about that. I don't drink alcohol.
Lame.
Everyone just saw you drink on the show.
Yeah, you slammed it too, by the way.
I know, man.
You have more?
You beat Ian on the first round, man.
Nah, whatever.
Dude, if you're ever gonna have Irish coffee in your life, you have to go to this place, the Dead Rabbit in New York. Dude. Yeah, dude, how incredible is
Oh,
that
absolutely,
shit?
check it out.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll be there next week.
Oh, I will too, and we'll go.
good.
We'll go, dude. We'll fucking go for sure,
I'm
dude.
down. I'll probably be in my
Really
fifth one.
good.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you guys coming through from the West Coast and from Dirty Jersey.
Yeah. Not too far.
Fist pumping. So Eric, California Cold Co on Instagram, and is it just?
It's California Cold Co.
Yeah, and what about you? Is Eric Coleman one? E Coleman one?
It's just my name, Eric Coleman. ERICCOLEMAN.
On Instagram? Any models out there looking to get some good shots? Hit him up, man. This guy's killing the game. You'll see his profile. I'm trying to sort him out with Katie Allen, who was on my show here, and then Ian
MB Soup Inc. Yeah.
MB Soup Inc. Explain that. Meatball soup.
Yep.
The meatball connoisseur.
I love meatballs, and that's my nickname too.
So if you want to follow Meatball's journey with Bellator and where he's going, or Eric with all his action shots and where he takes him in travel, go check it out. Also, you'll see some crazy kettlebell and handstand work. This guy does some maniac things, dude, on the kettlebell.
Ridiculous.
So go check it out, man. Go check out Drink Ripe on Instagram, my sponsor. We killed this bottle today.
Delicious.
It's amazing.
Dirty Dozen. Give it a like. Give it a share. Follow. See you next time, man. Appreciate you guys coming through.
My man.
Love you, man. You're one of my favorite people.
brother.
You know that.
My man.
Later, man.